In the frozen streets of Deadwood, where mercy was rarer than warmth, a widow stood silent while men argued over the price of her body. She wasn't selling desire. She was selling survival. And the man who would save her was the last man she expected. Deadwood was no place for a woman alone, especially not in winter. Snow buried the streets like a shallow grave, and hunger clawed harder than the cold. Clara Hale pulled her torn shawl tighter around her shoulders as she stood inside the saloon, eyes lowered, fists clenched. Her husband had been dead 6 months, shot over a poker table by a man who walked free the next morning. The debt he left behind did not die with him. The saloon owner leaned close, his breath sour. "You don't pay tonight, widow, or you don't walk out." The men laughed. Coins clinked. Clara felt herself disappear inside her own body. She agreed to the bargain not because she wanted to, but because the alternative was death. Then the door opened. Cold wind swept in, followed by a man who looked carved from the mountains themselves. Broad shoulders, wrapped in fur. A silver-streaked beard. Eyes sharp, but tired, like he'd seen too much of the world and wanted none of it. The room quieted. "Leave her," the mountain man said. The saloon owner scoffed. "You paying her debt?" The man tossed a leather pouch on the table. Gold spilled out. "She's done." Clara stared, stunned. Outside, the stranger said only 3 words. "Come with me." She should have run. Instead, she followed. His cabin sat deep in the mountains, surrounded by snow and silence. No questions were asked that night. He gave her food, a blanket, space. His name was Elias Crow. Days passed, then weeks. Clara worked where she could, cooking, mending, chopping wood. Elias hunted and trapped, returning each night with quiet nods instead of words. He never touched her, never looked at her the way men in Deadwood had. One night she asked, "Why did you save me?" Elias stared into the fire. "Because I once didn't save someone, and I've been paying for it ever since." She learned his story slowly. A wife and child lost to outlaws. A life abandoned. A man who buried himself in the wilderness to forget. Winter grew harsher. A storm trapped them inside for days. When Clara fell ill, Elias stayed by her side, feeding her broth, whispering prayers he barely believed in. When she recovered, something had changed. She laughed again. He smiled just once. Spring came, and with it choice. "You can leave when the snow melts," Elias said one morning. "I won't stop you." She looked at the cabin, the mountains, the man who had never asked for her body, only her presence. "I don't want to go," she said. Elias turned away, voice breaking. "If you stay, it won't be easy." Clara stepped closer. "I've already survived the hardest part." That night, she reached for his hand. This time, he didn't pull away. Months later, Deadwood whispered rumors of a widow who vanished, and a mountain man who came back to life. Clara never forgot her bargain, but she learned this truth. Sometimes, survival leads you straight to love, if you're brave enough to hold on.